Welcome, everyone. This is Batshit Crazy Episode 1. I'm Zach, that's Kyle, and today we're going to give you our thoughts on new movie trailers.
I'm really digging your welcome everybody voice.
Welcome,
Nice.
everybody. Welcome.
And what are we drinking tonight, Zach? What are we drinking?
We are drinking, not sponsored, sparkling ice Starburst. You know, these are really good. I highly recommend. Zero sugar, but they don't have any like aspartame or anything in them. They taste too good, and I'm kind of suspicious, but it says it just has real fruit juice. 5 calories.
You know, I
You
feel
want to
like
sponsor me, I will gladly take it.
I feel like maybe that's not real fruit juice.
I don't
Perhaps.
know. I don't want to know.
I am
though.
also drinking something with zero sugar. I mean, there's sugar somewhere in there because it's a mixed drink. But let me introduce you to the Skull of Solomon.
I'll see. That's why
what
you
I've
asked me what
named
you're
this.
drinking, just to get your segue in here, because you have your
Exactly,
fucking
yes.
awesome skull cup. Now I need to get
No.
a goblet.
It is a
Don't have
relic,
one.
and this is the Skull of Solomon.
I like how it just comes into existence. It just fades out of reality when you're
Well, I mean,
your
you
backdrop.
know,
You just pulling
we're
things
in
out
the
of nowhere.
Batcave, man. We're in the
Ooh.
Batcave. It's like Batman's utility belt. It just comes out of nowhere. There you go, and there it goes. See, it's like, whoop, there it is. Movie magic. Speaking of movies, which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with the one everybody's wanting to talk about. Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch.
You know, I honestly don't really remember the first movies, so you're going to give me a refresher since you seem to know more than I do.
Elvis music. I remember an obscene amount of Elvis music, and I loved every second of it because of the Elvis music. I have thoughts that perhaps maybe.
Whoa, Emily just came in like an apparition.
she just faded into existence. I'm telling you, it's the magic of the Batcave. No, I remember liking the movie because of the Elvis music, and I don't know if I like the movie for itself. I do think that this is going to be another Disney debacle where they are milking that cash cow.
How many are there, movie wise? Only one? Or is there, I know there's a bunch of
There's at
spin-off
least two.
things, but I don't know if they were full
There's
movies.
at least two, and I know there's a Disney cartoon, a show that ran on the Disney Channel before streaming was a thing.
I'm sure I've watched it. I don't know, really recall it. I don't have any high hopes for this new one. I think it's gonna be absolutely fucking terrible. But
I think it's gonna get the Lion King treatment. I really think it's gonna get the Lion King treatment. There'll be some weird Beyonce song in there somewhere. And,
did you watch that?
The Lion King? Yeah, I watched that. You gotta watch it.
I saw the meme about it, and I was like, "That's enough of that movie for me." It was something about the brother, saying something about the way they pronounce brother was kind
of.
It was a song or something, and I don't know. That was about enough as I needed to see of that movie. But you can tell me all about it.
Seth Rogen as Pumbaa was great.
Okay, I can see that. That seems like a chew-in for him.
I don't know. So that movie for me, it was straight up just a remake. It was live action with talking animals. So
was it pretty much a shot for shot?
It was pretty close. There was a couple added things. Like I said, they added a different song because they needed that extra star power for one of the most popular cartoons in all of animated history for some reason. But yeah, it was pretty much shot for shot. It was a straight up remake. And I think Lilo and Stitch is going to be the same. I think it's just going to be a remake. I'm sure there will be some political correctness added to it, sprinkled in, trying to be as delicate as possible with that.
Did it look as weird as it looked in the few snippets I saw? It just looked like weird. Something about the animation. It kind of has the same. What was the other one they did a couple years ago? that was kind of the same kind of. It was another remake of an older movie that just it's not bad. It just doesn't look something uncanny about it, and that's kind of what I was like. That's what I think the Lilo and Stitch thing's going to suffer from too.
Personally, anytime I see animals talking to me, it's a little uncanny.
That's true.
But usually, there's an enormous amount of weed and alcohol.
Usually, it's a different
happens.
reason when they're talking to me, but
but yeah, it's always a little unsettling when the lion talks back. No, shit. No, what you saw in the trailer is exactly what it looked like.
so I'm probably going to pass on it. Is what you're saying? Not
yeah.
must see.
I mean, we'll see it eventually, but I mean, it'll probably be a wait for Disney Plus or something.
Well, that'd be a good segue into How to Train Your Dragon, because I think this one could suffer some of the same problems. I think the trailers do look good, but I haven't seen enough.
I'm really excited for that one.
I know you would be, and I don't actually did going into it. I actually didn't have any hopes for it. I was like, this is going to be terrible when I watched the trailer. But then I watched it and I was like, you know what? This kind of works. But then I still think it could be weird. But I have more promise for that.
I think the benefit that How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake, is going to have over Lilo and Stitch, it's, from what I understand, the same team that made the animated movies, the director, the writer, the composer, even it's the same team that did those movies is doing this. So I was watching. You know how they do trailers for trailers now, and they have to do a behind the scenes for the trailers now. Like every fucking 30 seconds needs a bonus DVD or something. But the director was talking about how he wanted to come back to it because he missed it, and it was not just a feeding the nostalgia monster. The way he put it was like, no, it's straight up a revisit. This is straight up our movie, our story, but it's going to be told in this format. So I think that one has more potential as far as like keeping the integrity of it. Whereas Disney, they're just cashing in on that Lilo and Stitch money. Baby Yoda's all grown up now. They need something new.
Who's making that movie?
DreamWorks.
Okay, that's what I thought. Is it alive? Is it real people or is it real people like animated? Because I couldn't really tell. It was hard to.
It's real people. Gerard Butler is playing stoic, as he did in the cartoon. They got him to come back the same way they, milk James Earl Jones for everything he's worth. They.
So they're actually on set, kind of thing.
They're actually on set. Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, dragons it was like a mocap. Not real, but
it almost looked like one of those things where it's like they're actually acting, but it's kind of a mocapped animated person, because it almost looked like it blended the line of being. Maybe they did some kind of touch up on them or something, because they look like they're almost animated people, but not. It was kind of cool.
It's real. It's all practical effects and prosthetics, and they did a good job just based off what we've seen. They did a really good job of matching the aesthetic of a cartoon, which is fantastic. And you see things like Star Wars not really follow through with that process, but it looks really good.
Worms. Yeah, I do. They have some hope for that one. I do. I like it. And that actually segues perfectly into Fantastic Four. This franchise just has struggled for so long. I just automatically think this is going to suck. I do like
I just don't care.
I do like the kind of 50s retro thing they were doing was a good idea. I don't know. These characters just don't ever land well, and I don't know why, but they just always look so weird. The suits, I did not like that blue. That was way too baby powder blue. It looked like your old car back in the day.
Oh.
And then the thing, it just doesn't look right.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
I know in comics, he's got the express brow and I know, like, if you're trying to match him up with a comic book from 1970, fuck you. It's probably looks really great, but the 70s were a while ago, and we can move past that aesthetic a little bit. Just don't care. Uh, Honestly, the
Tell me about it.
Fantastic Four, they peaked with Silver Surfer, and that wasn't even that great. Um,
I think
they
they peaked
keep
honestly with the
trying to,
movie you never watched, the 2004 one, just because there was nothing else to compete with. It was like they were the only.
yeah.
It was like
It,
Spider-Man just came out, and this was kind of just like more superpowers on screen. That was kind of the new, but it wasn't a good movie, and I just don't think
I
they can
I
work.
know people have a passion for these characters, and I know because right now, I mean, Marvel's drowning. Let's just be honest. They've been struggling since Spider-Man. And Wolverine and Deadpool were great, but they've been pretty clear that even though we'll see those characters again, that was a one-off. And I think it's all building towards Secret Wars, which in comics is, a big end game level event. They're all there. The Fantastic Four obviously play a part in that. I say obviously to anybody that knows Marvel comics, but I just don't. I'm really worried they're going to do what they did to Civil War, and they're going to use the title of this great comic franchise just to put butts in seats. And the Fantastic Four movie, I feel like it's just is a purpose to that end. I feel like it's just a background story that we don't need. And honestly,
Yeah.
if it is MCU canon, that puts them running around at the same time as Captain America. And in Captain America, there was no,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had all that Agents of Shield stuff, and you had all that background, and the Fantastic Four were never mentioned. And the trailer is showing these guys to be like an Avengers level team, and it's just like, I'm sorry, I love Pedro Pascal. You did good bringing him in, but he's not selling me on this movie. It just doesn't look good.
And I don't think the fan base is there for Fantastic Four. I think they have a little niche thing, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to show up for this one. And
But I mean, then again, there was no fan base for Guardians of the Galaxy. There was like four people and James Gunn, and they made
yeah,
that pretty great. So, and
although
Iron Man
that didn't
wasn't
have
popular
anything.
until Iron Man.
Although Guardians of the Galaxy didn't already have a terrible movie just a couple years previous, whatever the hell they tried to do last time. It's just I know that was that was Fox then, right?
Yeah.
But
Wait, for Guardians? No, that was
no,
MCU all the way
no,
through.
for
Oh,
Fantastic
yeah, that
Four,
was all
that
Fox.
terrible thing. Yeah, I just think something weird about these characters that I just don't think work in today's. I don't know. I just feel like superhero characters of the 50s that should have just stayed in the 50s, and I don't think there's an
Yeah,
actor that you could bring in that could make them particularly interesting. They're all just kind of like cliche. I'm the doctor. I'm the hot woman. I'm
yeah.
the arrogant firehead, and there's just
Hot
not.
woman.
Well, that's basically how they ever made her character. It wasn't ever interesting. It was just Jessica Alba. Please play this character,
Yeah.
and it was like they don't ever try. If they went off the wall and just said "fuck it," we're gonna do our own characters, then maybe. But they don't. I could already tell from this trailer they're just gonna fit right into that glove, and I don't know.
I don't know. There's nothing. What I feel like Marvel needs to do is to just go a different direction entirely. Like you'll never, I mean, their business is superheroes, so they'll always be in the superhero direction. But like, instead of spoon feeding us characters we want to be popular, like give us the X-Men. Like people went crazy over Gambit and Deadpool, and obviously Wolverine sold tickets. And when we saw the X Mansion and the couple X-Men and the first two Deadpool movies, everyone freaked out. And I love the X franchise, all 3,000 of them. They're fantastic. And
But do you think the X
go
Men
that
could
direction.
succeed though without Hugh Jackman and company? Because that's the thing. I don't know that it could. If they rebooted it with new people, I don't think that could be. It might just be another. I think their only successful ones now are the ones that keep bringing back Hugh Jackman and the people love, Robert Downey Jr. But without them, it's like, I don't know. They seem to just struggle. They just can't seem to replace these icons, and they just keep dragging them back from the grave, literally.
Sure. No, yeah,
I think it could be
I think the
cool,
passion I think
but
the passion for the characters is there, but I think it would come down to the casting. It's not so much I mean, what makes Thor and Iron Man and even though you hate it, Captain America great. It's the actor's dedication to the character. Like Chris Hemsworth loves playing Thor and he brings that passion. Robert Downey Jr. made Tony Stark his. So I feel like if you cast the right person, like for me, my favorite X-Men wasn't Wolverine growing up. I always loved Cyclops. You know, he was the leader of the team. He had the cool laser eyes. So I feel like if you bring in the right actor to play Cyclops, who's passionate about it, who spends time off screen talking about it, that's your ticket into making these characters great. And it's one of the reasons I'm so excited about next segue. Thunderbolts is when I watch that cast interact with each other. Uh, it it looks like the same chemistry that the original Avengers cast had with each other. It's like the actors are they're enjoying their jobs. What? It's not just a payday. They want to be there. That's all the difference in the world.
why do you think it works for, say, Batman when they replace an actor, and it seems to be, but like, but Marvel just can't seem to. Is it the level of actor is just not as good that they're replacing them with? Is that's what I feel like it almost feels like sometimes they just seem to cheapen up and they just seem to get somebody that maybe isn't terrible, but they're not the same level. And I don't know. They just feel like generic replacement. And like Brie
Well,
Larson
Bat,
is they feel like Brie Larson. It's like she's not bad, but she doesn't feel none of them that they were like Anthony Mackie or they just don't feel iconic. They just feel like they're there to replace
yeah.
somebody, and it's just I just don't have any interest in them, and I don't know why that DC can do that with Batman. They just throw somebody else in there, and even Robert Pattinson, and it works out. But it's like we just go like, okay, that's a new Batman. But like if they did it with Iron Man, everybody's just like, I don't want care about this guy. Who the hell's he?
I think I think I think Batman's probably a bad example, just for a couple reasons. The reason it worked with Batman while you and I were growing up is, at least for me, I always saw because we saw five Batmans in our childhood. We saw Keaton in the very beginning, and then Kilmer, and then Clooney, and then Bale. And I always saw Batman kind of like James Bond, like, okay, this actor gets him, but who gets to play him next? And there was like that anticipation, who gets to take on that character in this way. And so he's so developed and he's so old and there's so many versions of him that people can look at it and be like, okay, what version are we getting yet next? You know, he's the most popular superhero in the world. That hype is pre-existing, and it doesn't matter how phenomenal Chris Nolan makes a trilogy versus how terrible Joel Schumacher makes a movie.
Mm-hmm.
The hype of the character is pre-existing versus characters like what Marvel's doing, like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's never been done before. It's the first go. Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, first go. The hype for the character is not pre-existing, and so
I think some
I
of
think
it's just oversaturation, and they just
oh,
don't take
for
a
sure.
break. I mean, if
Oh,
they just stop
definitely.
making, but that's because Batman probably as simple as that is they just take breaks in between. It's like you get five
Yeah, they
years,
do,
five, six
and
years, and then you let it settle, and then people are like,
mhm.
I'd like another Batman movie now, and then it's like, lo and
And
behold, as soon as you
especially
think that,
when yeah, especially when you and I were growing up too, there wasn't a superhero genre. There were superhero movies,
yeah,
but there wasn't a superhero genre right yet. Like you said, the market's completely oversaturated. Like Marvel is super guilty of it, and DC followed through in the worst possible way in response to it. But Marvel was pumping out 2, 3 movies a year, and then when you're not watching the movies, we got a show, new season of Agents of Shield, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Defenders, Iron Fist. They were just shelling it out as fast as they could, and they. I mean, I love DC. I mean, hello, look, right, but. But Marvel developed their superhero genre. They really did. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I think for me anyway, on a personal level, when got off the Marvel train was after Endgame. It just became when they started doing the Agents of Shield. You need to watch this. You need to watch this show, and they're all just they put out so much, and it was starting to get diluted and not like you could tell the animation was suffering. It was getting to
Hmm.
be when their animation from 2013 was better than it was in 2023. It's like what the hell's happening here? And it was just too
Oh, I know.
much. And I just was like, I don't care anymore. I was like, I just don't. I haven't watched a Marvel movie and I honestly couldn't tell you the last one I watched. It
I think Infinity War and Endgame are two of the best superhero movies ever made. I strongly believe that. But for me, Marvel took a deep turn in quality in 2016, and it was all overshadowed by Batman vs Superman and the Martha moment and dark Henry Cavill's Zack Snyder verse was. But like, if you go back and watch the airport scene, the big confrontation when Spider-Man shows up, like, man, Iron Man and War Machine, they look like floating heads on top of CGI monstrosities. And like Ant-Man growing to the size of a skyscraper, it's not good. And like
yeah.
you go back and you rewatch it and you're like, it's the same people that did this, the same people that did Green Lantern. Like, what the fuck happened? You know?
Well, and this I'm going to segue now before we get on another tangent. This falls into the same thing with Superman for me. That trailer, I just don't care. It's not that it's bad. It just doesn't look any different than anything else I've ever seen in the last 15 years. It just looks cookie cutter. In some ways, it
It
looks
looks very Marvel.
worse than yeah. It looks
Yeah.
worse in some ways than Cavill's, which is like, how is that possible? Because that was 15 years ago at this point. It's just I don't know. I'm just
Oh
not
shit, really?
interested in it. It's kind of like it's not bad. None of it's bad. I just don't like want to watch it.
I like I'm excited for it because it's a different direction and it's all new. It's a new continuity. And
Is
I
it
mean,
though?
I'm
Is it
never
different though?
it
It's
is.
just gonna be the
It's a
same thing. He's
it's
gonna
a
be a guy.
it's a new continuity. But no, you're right. The core of he's still Superman.
And
He's
maybe
an
that's just a me
alien from another
problem. You know,
planet
you know my
and
take
he
on
oh, it's
Superman. I'm
definitely
not I'm
your
not the
problem.
biggest I'm not the biggest fan of Superman. I think he needs a
No, you're
rebrand.
not.
But
But no, I'm excited because it's bringing it back to a that trailer. You got the John Williams score in there, which is an obvious callback to like, yes, this is no longer we are done with the Snyderverse. That's gone. This is your hopeful, optimistic Boy Scout Superman. All the things you hate about Superman, this is that version of Superman. He is the Boy Scout. But like I look in that trailer and I see Guy Gardner as Green Lantern, who we've never seen on screen before. Guy Gardner is this famous fucking tool
so
bag who,
point on Green Lantern.
yeah.
Do you think that can be done well? I just don't think that character is able to go live action. I've never, I mean, it's never been done, but I don't know how they do that.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds did it, but
Yeah, but I was saying done it well.
yeah.
I don't
No,
know. I'd be interested to see what that looks like.
I am too. I don't like the way they are. Well, there's no promotional work for it yet. They're developing that Green Lantern show. It's got Kyle Chandler. He's going to be Hal Jordan, and it's
Is
got
that
John
part? Is
Stewart
that
in it.
connected to
And
the movie, the show?
yeah, it's yep, and
Same
so
guy.
it's connected to the new DCU going forward. Uh, I don't know. They're advertising it as a like realistic space cop movie, and you're like, what about that sounds realistic? Space cop movie? Like
Huh.
what? Let the superhero be a superhero. You don't need to explain why he's a superhero. We get it. That's why we're here. We
Yeah.
wanted to see the superhero.
Yeah, I think
I don't
over
know if it
explaining
can
is
be
a
done well.
problem. Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see. I loved Green Lantern as a kid. He was actually one of my favorite superheroes. But I
I still love him as a character. I mean,
yeah, I
Hal,
just
I'm a
I have a
purist, I guess. I love Hal Jordan more than John Stewart. But John Stewart was the Green Lantern of the cartoon show, which we grew up on, and I love that character too. It's just,
you know,
I don't know, the
we
Green
we can
Lanterns.
kind of we can kind of do a weird segue here into something we're going to do later, but I honestly wish they would do superhero movies like Secret Level. I think that could be way better if they made them that type of animation like they did in for the Keanu Reeves one, the Armored Core. That would look
Yeah,
so
that
cool, where it's
mocap.
like
Yeah, video
hyper
game mocap
realistic,
shit.
but still you can do what you. I think Star Wars would benefit from that too. If you do something in between
Yeah,
the Clone Wars, where it's not cartoony but realistic. I mean, I don't know what the cost would be to do that. I have no idea what they probably millions and millions of dollars, but they're already spending
it's Disney.
three
They
hundred
can
forty
afford
million
it.
dollars anyway. So I don't know. It might be the same. But I think that all
Uh,
those movies could benefit from something like that, where it looks realistic, but you can still do what you want to do it to keep it magical and have that
yeah.
disbelief
Do you
element.
remember? Do you remember? For the fuck of me, the only person I can remember is Angelina Jolie. Beowulf,
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
forever ago.
Yeah.
That was. I mean, it's a poor example because it went first, so obviously the technology wasn't quite there yet. But like,
Yeah. I know
and
what you mean though.
like referring to Star Wars, like you could keep Mark Hamill until he's 90. You know, he's a voice actor. You can mocap his face and then throw some young dude in there to do all the stunt work. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
they did with Ray Park and Darth Maul for final season of Clone Wars, and it's just like, oh, why won't you do that, Disney? Like there's in
I don't know.
comparison to the weird practical effect versus CGI monstrosities they've been making, like, oh, look at that awesome probe droid that's going by. Oh, look at that dude in a puppet suit. I mean, that alien right there. No, it's
Mhm.
just commit, just
Yeah, it seems
fully
like
commit
it's
to it.
just make a whole Baldur's Gate 3 made the whole game mocapped. Everybody acted the whole
Yeah.
thing out and it's all realistic movements
It's
and yeah, I don't
It's
know why they
honestly,
can't.
I prefer that for Star Wars. I wish they would do. I desperately wish they, because then you could unlock anything. You could bring in these. So I know you didn't watch it, but the only redeeming factor, the only redeeming quality of the was the fight scenes, and the reason they were so good was the same reason the show wasn't so great, and that's because they brought in martial artists to be the actors, and it's like they can fight, they can't act, but holy shit, those scenes are great, and I just wish that studios, because everything's getting more and more artificial the further along technology evolves anyway, so it's just like commit
Yeah.
to it,
Well,
give
the
us give
same thing
us your
about
stunt
the
crew.
Ahsoka show. The reason I didn't partly jive with that wasn't just, I mean, the bad writing and I did not like Dawson and little things like that, but it partly was they just couldn't make her Ahsoka because Ahsoka is fast and acrobatic and
Impossible, yeah.
you just can't do it. And like she just looked like every other Jedi when she's supposed to be jumping around, flipping around, but you can't do that. So why not just make it an animated series and it would have been great.
Right. It's like, well, when it's super cut together by fans, I like the final fight scene between Kenobi and Vader. I think that's still one of the greatest uh, lightsaber brawls between Ewan and Hayden. But like George Lucas had it
Yeah.
figured out. There weren't really any stages. It was all just blue screen and trampolines. Just like do that.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Batman movie treated like a spy movie and a John Wick movie, and just watch some actor flail around doing martial arts on a trampoline park. That would be, because that's cartoon Batman. That's what he does. It doesn't make sense, and that's why we love it. It's fantastical. It's whimsical. You're like, how does he do that?
Yeah.
And I'd like to see them commit to that. Let's go mocap. And then you got your A24 films that can still use real actors and be dramas and suspense, and you
Yeah.
got your Keanu Reeves that can still do real stunt work on a stage, and for your John Wick movies, or Tom Cruise, he can still hang out of planes if he wants, and
Sure
and
can.
that will still work. That'll still work for those movies, but these movies that are so fantastical, just
Yeah.
commit to it, man.
I know. All
But
right.
yeah, no, bringing it back just a little bit.
Okay,
I
bring it
am
back.
still really excited for I am still really excited for Superman. I think the trailer does look good, although my biggest beef with the trailer, you're introducing a brand new Superman to the world. first time anybody's seen this guy. You got all the conflict of the Snyder fans, and you got all the Marvel lovers out there that hate DCU because they're not Marvel. And like the first shot you choose to go with is Superman broken, bleeding, and crashing to Earth just so you can show off his dog. What are you thinking? Like,
I
you
was
should have
wondering that.
started it. You should have started it with him saving the little girl, or you should have started it with him punching the kaiju or whatever the hell he was doing. The first shot you show of the Man of Steel, the arguably the greatest superhero to ever be created, broken, bleeding, and falling to earth, and has to be dragged home by his dog. What the fuck? Why?
I did think
Makes
that was
no
a weird
sense.
choice. I don't know who cuts these trailers, but they don't really help the cause either. You could really do a lot with a good trailer, but when you can like when fans on YouTube can make better trailers, it's like, what are we doing here? How much do you guys pay? I can make a better trailer.
I've seen the edits of, like, you see like Star Wars Episode 5 modern day trailer, and you're like, holy shit, that movie looks good.
Is
What
this
do you
real?
mean it's 40 years old? What?
Speaking of trailers, okay, Jurassic World.
Oh yeah,
Rebirth. What do you think?
Oh my fuck. I mean, the obvious breakaway was not the dinosaurs, but Scarlett Johansson being a badass. What is even her character? She's like Indiana Jones meets fucking, I don't know.
That's exactly what I said when
Ethan
I watched this.
Hunt.
I was like, this is Uncharted Indiana Jones Jurassic World. And I was like, you know, I kind of like it.
I mean, she sold. I mean, I didn't have to be sold because I'll go see anything with the dinosaurs. I survived Jurassic Park 3. I'm gonna survive the rest. It's just
that's
like,
true. That's right.
I will go see the
about
Jurassic World. That's like, I will go see it. You didn't have to make it look this good. Bravo. But like, she was the steal away. Like, I don't even know what the fuck's going on in that movie at all, except she's a badass that saves the scientist. That's
also
cool.
Really tan, which I don't remember her ever being tan in any movie ever. But
I thought this was an interesting choice, and I apologize if we get hate comments for it. the 13 people that will. I thought this was an interesting choice, especially with Scarlett Johansson, especially after her Marvel treatment, because Marvel, I don't know, they dunked her in a Lazarus pit before every commercial, and they dipped her toes in the fountain of youth. I don't know what the hell they did, but they like went out of the way to make her look young. Scarlett Johansson looks her age, and I appreciate that. I'm like, they didn't.
I did too.
They didn't de-age her. They didn't bury her under makeup. Like, she is just a person that
she
is
looks
a badass.
great for 40.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna look like that at 40, but
it'll look bad.
but
yeah, we should all be so fucking lucky.
See, it's funny enough. Actually, while I was sick, I watched the first Jurassic World again. I have not watched it since first time, and I had about the same experience. It wasn't a terrible movie. It just wasn't. It just was kind of like a popcorn thing, and I was just like, I didn't feel any different about it now. And I was just, this one kind of felt. I like the Indiana Jones thing they're going for. I like the returning to an original park, even if it's a research lab. I just like the old stuff. I like it when old things are dilapidated and broken shit that's old. I just like that look better. Well, and I think this movie could be corny though, because some of the jokes were like, I was like, hey, I don't know. Some of it was a little bit.
I don't know. I thought that one guy, why can't we get it from the adult? And like, oh, it's a carnivore the size of an F-16. Like, oh yeah, fuck. All right, that's a good point.
Were there kids on that boat?
I don't know.
I swore I saw kids in there. I was like, why would you bring kids on this? Unless it wasn't kids, but I swore I heard some kids screaming or something. I'm like, why the hell would you bring kids to this island? Unless I just misheard it.
Liam watches that Camp Cretaceous cartoon, which is and I think it's got a couple spin. I've seen parts of episodes when he's watching, but I haven't actually sat down to watch it. I should. It looks interesting, but that show was about like kids that were like on some kind of field trip to Jurassic World when the Indominus broke out, and like they got left behind during the evacuation, and it's about them surviving. So it'd be really interesting. But now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the trailer implied, I thought, that this island was the same as, speaking of Jurassic Park 3, where Alan Grant went and they met the Spinosaurus. So like the test site, the beta site, this is more of that island because the original park, Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, that got nuked by a volcano, didn't it? And the last movie, or the second to last movie,
I
the
think
the
this
middle of the Jurassic
is.
World.
I was taking this as a third site. I don't think it's either one. I I don't know. I have to look up my lore, but I don't know if they're just making this up. If it's, but
I
I've
love that
read
there's
I've
lore.
read the
This
books and
Jurassic
stuff.
Park's my favorite book.
Yeah, the book is great. It goes a lot deeper than anything else. But I
Mm.
think this is a different island than we've never been to. I'm pretty sure. But
It'd be interesting. Emily was telling me too. She was wondering. Oh, we were both wondering. The mosasaur that's in it. Like, is there more than one mosasaur, or is this like the same one that aced the Indominus and that was
I'm guessing it's
swimming in
different.
LA or
I
whatever?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I
That's
they
I
seem
love
to
him though. He's cool.
imply like this was all stuff from original park
The previous
era,
islands, yeah.
but I don't know. Maybe it's, yeah, I don't know. I was told to find out. I'll
Well,
look up
now I
my
just want to watch all the Jurassic movies.
I know I well, see I went back and watched the original movie again. I was like, oh, this is so much better than Jurassic World. You watch Jurassic World and you're like, oh, it was all right. But then you watch the original one and you're like, man, this has a horror element to it that just like has like a Jaws feel where it's
Yes,
just like they don't
yes.
show it all the time. That's the problem. I'm hoping this movie doesn't do that, but it probably will. It looks kind of like the other movies where they just throw so much dinosaur at you that eventually it's just like, I don't know, whatever. But the first one just like a couple raptors here and there, and they were like stalking you. Then it was a T Rex, but there wasn't a whole lot of
Three
anything.
raptors.
Yeah, there was only maybe,
I
I don't know how many dinosaurs were in that
uh,
movie that came after them. Like
oh,
four. There was a guy that got Newman when he was trying to leave. He
there,
got
yeah,
poisoned.
the Dilophosaur.
Buffalo. You had the T
There
Rex, and then you
was
had some
the
raptors, but
T-Rex.
there wasn't a whole lot of
You had
anything.
the Brontosaurus in the beginning. You had the Triceratops.
Hmm. But yeah, they just didn't like oversaturate it. And then when they did show him, it's like rip the guy's arm off, and it's like holy crap! It's like, yeah, I remember that movie
They did
scaring the
Sam.
hell out of me as a kid.
They did Sam dirty. They did Sam real
They
dirty.
did,
Hold on to your butts. Yeah, he should have held on to his arm.
but everything had tension in that movie. Like even like resetting the power, like in this movie, and nowadays it would just be like flip the switch, you got power again. This one was like you might die. We
I
don't know if she's gonna live.
that that might just be the difference between Spielberg and other directors, though, because
Yeah,
Spielberg was the
there's a lot of
Jurassic Park
rain, a lot of
OG.
darkness, a lot of
Hmm.
Jaws in it. It was just like you don't need to see what you
Well,
can't.
that's part of the reason why Jurassic Park is my favorite book of all time. Is like that's a scary book, dude. I mean, Lost World
It's,
gets into the chaos theory, but like Jurassic Park's a scary book.
yeah, I
And
don't think
like
this movie is
what
gonna get
makes
on that
uh
level, but I think it's gonna be somewhere in between.
what makes the Jurassic franchise so special too is that it is the dinosaur franchise. I mean, you have Jurassic franchise, and then you have like BBC's Walking with Dinosaurs, and there is nothing else. There's Jurassic, and I think I don't know. It's just there's something about dinosaurs that just kind of spark that kid in everybody. I think they're like, oh, look at the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a couple of them don't land as well as the others. I think that's why, for me, Jurassic World didn't land quite as hard as the Jurassic Park movies, is because they started making shit up. The thing about this trailer that has me the most what's the word? The thing that I'm fearing about this movie is they showed the mutant dinosaur, the weird alien Xeno Queen T-Rex looking thing. And like, that's cool. I now have a picture in my head for what Darth Vader and Sidious were fighting in Lords of the Sith. Uh, but it takes away from that imagination. Like, the thing that's special about Jurassic Park was, you know, dinosaurs were real at one point. You know, this is what our world was like with dinosaurs. And and it was science fiction, but in a way it was also historical fiction. And this is
Yeah.
just straight science fiction. And like, I don't know. I'm just the mutant dinosaur. I'd be way like the last movie when they combined the cast. Like they introduced the Giganotus, and like that was a real dinosaur. He was scary as fuck. He was big as shit. You know, he would have fucked up the T-Rex without all
So
scissor hands
is
helping
this
him. But
mutant dinosaur? See, this is where I'm wondering if they're breaking their own canon, because in the Jurassic World, the lead research guy, when he gets yelled at for making the new, the hell is it, the Indominus, he
yeah,
says that people didn't want normal dinosaurs anymore, and I made you what you wanted. And he was they were implying that up until that point they've just been making normal dinosaurs that already existed. So is this saying that
yeah.
there was already a mutant back then, or is this
That
that's where I'm
that's the
confused.
that's the definite implication is that like he had already started working, and like
Not that
maybe
the
they're
lore
gonna try to
matters.
spin it.
I don't think
Yeah,
anybody's going
right.
to be caring. Maybe
I
this is a
care,
reboot
Zach.
too.
I care.
I don't know how much is actually
Uh,
carrying over from the old movies. Maybe they're
I
not even going to reference them. I don't
I
know.
don't know. They got they got the music in there. They're talking about like the world, the Site B and stuff like that. Like I just don't know what the overall plan. I mean, we've only had one trailer.
Yeah, and
Um
that's kind of where I'm holding out.
and
But
I'm yeah, I don't
I
know if
hope
they're
they
gonna
go
play
more
it close to
scary
the
with this.
lore or
I don't want to. My fear is they go too Jumanji, like new Jumanji, with this and make it kind of
yeah.
campy. But then my hope is they go more like scary and just make it like more of a horror movie. But I don't know how much they're trying. I don't know what the rating's going to be or how PG, because they try to, not that they were, there was graphic in the other
I don't
movies, but
know.
they definitely tried to not show ripping of limbs and stuff in the New World movies. They tried to cut that out as much as they could to keep it kid friendly. But I don't know where this. We'll have to see more trailers and maybe we'll get a
Yeah,
better idea.
I think that's definitely something that is going to be hit or miss with them, and that really is, and it's not really talked about that much. Uh, the something that makes the first Jurassic Park so special was they really did manage to find on the first go the perfect blend between like the magic of dinosaurs versus the magic of horror, and they blended it really well. And it just
I
feels
think
like
underrated part of that movie too is the tech. It's kind of has a
yeah,
Star Wars feel where it's like it was just advanced enough that it made sense, but not over the top crazy. It was kind of like a cool. Now it just got like the new movies are just like all touchscreen shit, digital, because they got to keep upping
yeah.
the future aspect to it, and that kind of made it look too, I don't know, Star Trekky or something. It was just like this is not.
You're right. It really did jump all the way into the sci-fi pool. It really is
And
almost too cutting edge. And like I know that's what you would expect to see.
yeah,
You walk in headquarters of like SpaceX or NASA, everything's going to be touchscreen. But like there's something charming about seeing the box that was the Windows 98 computer. And you know, it's just
I love it every
you
time
know,
I see it. I'm like, oh yeah.
every time she's manually dragging the files in her mouth. She's like, I know what this is.
It's
Like
like
you're like,
me
yeah,
and
it's
Icarus
basic
when I'm pissing Tyler off and I don't push transfer all.
basic coding. That's what that is. Like they teach our kids that in elementary school now. That is.
There's here how to learn Java.
Ah. Yeah, fucking
So
Java.
you want to talk about Helldiver and Horizon movie? Are they making a Horizon movie?
They are. So Sony announced
They canceled the show, right?
with
They were making a
there
show.
was a show.
They did, and they canceled the show because I think they realized it was
Okay.
going to cost too much to try to make
And
a
they went with the
Horizon
movie
thing.
instead.
I guess, yeah. I didn't know they're making a movie.
So so Sony did their version of announcement expo bullshit thing that they do. And with the success of Uncharted, which I think that was a success with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, I really liked that movie. I loved the helicopters and the pirate ships. I loved the whole Indiana Jones National Treasure kind of scavenger hunt thing they did. I really liked the Uncharted movie, and with the success from that, because let's face it, they screwed the pooch on Spider-Man. Um, with that success, they've gone forward and they're going to make more. Now, Horizon Zero Dawn. Did you play both of those games and their DLCs?
Uh, I have
Would
not
you?
played
I
this. I have
loved
not
them.
played the second one. I adored the
Okay.
first one a lot. I loved that game more than most people did. Don't know why I have not made the time to play the second one, but it just I don't know, something about it didn't was off putting. I think I was just sick of like the narrative single player story when it came out. I was just kind of burnt out on the God of War stuff, but I think
Yeah.
I loved the first one and I think it could be a cool movie. I'm just worried they're not going to put the money to is it's going to take so much money to
So
make that animated dinosaur stuff look cool.
for the channel, when you do go back and play them, because I have a feeling you will, play them back to back like Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, because the story is it's a direct progression. I think there's like 2 or 3 weeks in between games. And obviously there were multiple years in between games. So when I played the second one, I felt like I was missing shit, just kind of forgotten from the first one because I did too. I loved playing Aloy, and I loved playing the first game, and I loved finding the different suits and unlocking the secrets. And when was it Frozen Forbidden West, or no, that's the name of the second. When the
Um
DLC dropped,
yeah.
Frozen something,
Yeah.
I loved playing that, and I loved the second game too. But I just felt like I was missing something. So my suggestion to you, to everybody, would be to play them back to back when you do it. And I think if they approach this series with the same integrity they did in Uncharted, it could be really, really, really good. I mean, obviously, going to have to cut out 12 hours of side quests, but you got the drama with the Karja, the drama with
What's the point though?
her
That's what I
people.
don't understand. Why not just play the game? I mean, I don't understand why you need a movie. Well, I
Money.
get the money, but
Money's the point. The greed
I think it's
fucks, and
risky. I don't know how well that's going to
oh,
translate
it's absolutely
to
risky.
the main populace. I think you have your gamers, but I don't know how well that's going to go to. If it's done really well, obviously it could be great, but I don't know. I don't trust that they're
Yeah.
going to do it well.
I mean, you've got that whole thing with, I mean, there's a balance, right? I feel like tackling the Horizon movie would be like trying to tackle Skyrim as a movie. There's too many side quests that bleed into the main quest for you to do justice, and
Yeah.
that's my big concern.
You
Is
would
there's
need to
just there's
nail
too
Aloy
much.
too. She would have to be the right
Oh,
actor. If
yeah.
you
And
screw that up, the whole thing is done.
I personally, I don't care if when it comes to casting, as long as the actor can portray the part, I do not care about ethnicity whatsoever. But I feel like that with this character is something that could make or break the movie before the first trailer, like the casting announcement. I mean, look at what's happening with How to Train Your Dragon. The girl that's playing Astrid obviously is not a white Norwegian girl. And, people are throwing a fit about it. Same thing happened to Little Mermaid. It's people suck, and that's the truth of it. So like with a character that is what she is in the game, if the casting's not the way people anticipate it, it's gonna sink the movie before it comes out. Sadly,
Yeah.
I'll still watch it and I'll still love it, but
Yeah, I hope it's great.
that would be my big concern. And I don't know. I just feel like you have a lead female actress as she's the main character. The movie's doomed to begin with because everyone's got to say, for some stupid fucking reason, everyone's got a goddamn say. Just find someone that's passionate about the character and let them do their thing. uh
Yeah.
But no, I think that would be the biggest hindrance outside of trying to fit uh, all the different storylines into like because
Yeah.
you got to fit it into a 2 hour movie, right, or 3 hour movie, whatever
That's where I
direction
don't
you
know how
go.
they could do it because I think you have to explain factions, you have to get people, you have to explain the whole story, and it's like that's just a
Yeah,
lot.
because
I just don't see the point.
with because by the end of the first video game, she's got like 4 or 5. It's been a while since I played. She's got like 4 or 5 different companions that help her, and the final battle against Hades. And that's the other thing is like, not only do you have the people of the sun and the people of the wilds, and you got the robot thing, but you also have the whole thing with the machines. That's the main quest, and you got Silas in there. You've
Yeah,
got all these
the more
different
you're telling me
storylines that
stuff,
have
now I'm
to.
like, yeah, I don't know, just shouldn't do it.
Yeah, I
But
I don't think they should. It's too big to try to confine down to a single movie, and I feel like a series really wouldn't do it justice either because it's not like a
I think
book
they
where you have
realized
a
that
single
too. They
narrative.
were like, it's too much
Yeah.
money because you're not going to have the money to make it look right. But okay, so on the flip side, Helldivers, I don't know how you would do
Yeah.
that. Would you either go like Super Trooper with this thing and just make it a complete spoof, or are you going more serious and you could go so many different directions with that. I have no idea how you would do it. Like to make it not look like
So
just a farce of itself. I don't
the
know. It
the
could be
whole
cool.
narrative the whole narrative is space racism, right? that's
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. Like if you dive into the story behind the scenes and like the story that's being told as the ongoing war progresses, and you go on the ships and you listen to what's her face talk about the illuminates or the automatons or the bugs, like the driving plot line behind Helldiver space racism. So like you almost have to find a blend between Super Troopers and Starship Troopers. You have to have that sci-fi killing the bugs, like good bugs, a dead
Yeah.
bug. I'm doing my part sort of thing, but like
I don't know how that works though, because it seems like it's gonna get either really old really fast, or it's gonna be too serious and not funny enough. I just
here here's how I
I
see
don't
it
know.
going, and here's what I hope they do. I hope the whole thing is a satire of a satire. And I hope the whole thing is the movie just like making fun of itself. And I hope they the only way for this movie to succeed, the only way is for them to treat it like Tropic Thunder, where it's just a bunch of A-list actors who get offed real quick for no fucking reason other than it's funny. Bring in
Interesting
Expendables,
idea.
Tropic Thunder. That
That could
it's
work.
a bunch of A-list actors in a non-serious movie. You can't take it serious. And I hope they play it off as a comedy like those, like Expendables, like Tropic Thunder. It's just I want to see because they never take their helmets off, right? Never ever take their helmets off. So give me some dialogue between like Sylvester Stallone and Daniel Craig, only to watch them get obliterated by and then right immediately give me Jason Momoa doing his famous scream as he's like diving onto somebody with illuminate on a hatchet or something. You have to make the movie as ridiculous as we play. It's you
I
know
think so.
drop a 500 kg on your friend or launched a mortar at your friend and just laugh about it because damn it, that was funny. That's the only way to do it. But
I think you
yeah,
need to
they
get Pedro
announced that they're
Pascal in
going
it.
to.
You need to put Pedro Pascal in, just so he has to wear a helmet again. He can't show his
So
face.
we have to wear. Yeah, and then make funny
But
like he
then
could
kill
say
him
something
immediately,
like,
though. Just
"This
kill
is
him.
the way."
Yeah, and then off his head, and just bam, baby's done.
like like
You're out of
like
the
like
movie.
oh my god, that'd be so great too, because you could do like a callback to both Mandalorian and Game of Thrones. He gets his head crushed in Game of Thrones, and so like you
You
could,
know, I think you're out of
like
something here.
Pedro Pascal's be like the samples, gets his head blown off.
The samples. The
samples.
Tropic Thunder in space is what you're proposing.
Basically, Tropic Thunder in space.
Have Robert Downey Jr. play a black guy. That'll go over well.
I mean, obviously, that's. I mean, it did the first time, and you've got to have Tom Cruise in there too. He's got to do something.
Except he'll play a black guy with a helmet on, and you never see his face. Just to make it more confusing.
I'm just a dude playing a dude behind a helmet doing a dude.
I still can't believe they did that. That definitely would not work today.
I still can't believe they got away with it. They still get away with it.
Honestly, I hate that movie. There's funny moments in it, but it's kind of like The Hangover for me. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why people love it so much. I get the funny clips and there's funny moments in it, but overall, I'm just like, what am I watching? And why am I watching this? I just think it's not my wheelhouse. I like stupid funny.
Yeah.
Granted, I love Dodgeball, so I'm not like I'm some prude here. Dodgeball is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I mean, yes, and you could get Vince Vaughn to do Helldivers.
Yeah, Ben Stiller, get White Goodman out there.
Nobody makes me bleed my mode.
Yeah, as he's getting like shot up.
He's like, I can't liberate with this broken arm or something like.
Let's talk secret levels. We're already going too long. What'd you think?
Secret level. Did you finally finish it? Did you complete it? All right.
Long time ago.
All right, good. My favorite wasn't the Keanu Reeves one. My favorite was the Warhammer, the Space Marine one. I thought like that gives me. I'm so encouraged with Henry Cavill's new series coming up because he's doing Warhammer, and I'm like, wow, let Amazon Prime take some notes. You should. You produce this show.
That's made us want to do a gameplay, so it's saying something.
Yeah, no, I like exactly. I think, oh man, that I've never been so several years ago, like over a decade ago, I met a guy before it was cool, before tabletop games were even in the realm of acceptable. I met a guy who was all about Space Marines, and he had all the little miniature figures, and he spent all of his spare time painting them, and he would tell me just constantly about this campaign he was doing or this story arc because it's got a lot of lore behind it. And I just did not give a shit. I did not give a shit at all. And then I haven't given a shit for years. And like I know they had a fairly new game came out, and like I saw it and I was like, Marines, I still don't give a shit. Then I saw Secret Level and I was like, oh my fuck, I want to play Space Marines. This is so cool. Again, I am told that the driving plot behind this is also space racism. So, I mean, that could speak volumes to us otherwise normal people that don't follow through with regular racism. Maybe we just like space racism, fantasy space racism.
Looking through the list, I do think that was my favorite as well. I have a little bit of passing history with Warhammer in that I used to play the strategy game on PC back in early 2000s, and I did not know anything about what it was. I just played the game. So it was like whatever, you build your faction, you fight. It's kind of like Age of Empires just with Warhammer, but very loose telling. But I loved that episode. I think that was my favorite as well. The only one I didn't really like was the last one, the playtime, meshing them all together. That one was just confusing. And the Spelunky one, I think, was the only one I was like, I don't understand this. I mean, I got it, but other than that, they all were great. I'm amazed how much they did with 15 minutes. I was just like,
I know.
I was like, there's no way they make a whole story here in 15 minutes, and then they did, and I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah. What was the fighting one? I forgot the name of that one.
Sifu, probably.
Sifu. Yeah, I didn't know what the hell was going on, but I was totally invested.
I know what that game is. I haven't played it, but I do understand what the game premise is, which would probably help you understand it a little bit more. But yeah, they did a really good job with, even if you haven't played the games, you could follow. The Arnold one was great. New World.
Oh yeah,
That
I
was a nice,
love
like,
boy.
funny one that you could just kind of like chill out
Oh
for a little
man,
bit. But yeah, they did a really
I
good job pacing. It was awesome. The Armored Core one was like, Keanu Reeves. I was like, fuck, that was so cool.
and it was such a good call on their part too to like involve the like for me. Arnold's one of those. He's got a soft spot. I've got a soft spot for him, and I'll watch just about anything. I have watched. I watched Last Stand when he was done being governor of Fubar on Netflix. That probably will never see another season. Yeah, I all the random offshoots that Arnie's done, I jump on watching Arnold. So like when his voice popped up, and obviously it's not his likeness, it's just his voice, and I was like, is that son of a bitch? Is that Arnie?
I
You're
know.
like,
I
oh
did the same
my
thing.
fuck, it is Arnold.
It's like,
It
damn.
was so I was that was I really want. I think they did say that they're going to do more secret, like they're developing more. There's going to be more seasons, and what is that Netflix version? Netflix has a version. It's not video games, but it's mini stories like that. Is it Love Bots, Love, Death, and Robots, or something? I'll find the title for you. But Netflix has a couple season show that's like this, but it's not video games, but it's those smaller stories.
Yeah, I really liked
Um,
it. This was a cool concept. I
yeah.
that's right in my wheelhouse. Small snippet shows like that I can just keep. I'm just like a 30
Well,
minute
and
release
that's
fan.
and that's and that's what's so smart about it is they managed to take almost like that idea that Pixar had. Remember, they'd give you those
Mhm.
shorts at the beginning of
Yeah.
their movies. They took that idea. They're like, okay, people do not have span these days. They're like 30-second videos and they got to stream. They just got to scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. And so that like they took that idea of scrolling up and they implemented it and they're like, here's a 15-minute story. Okay, this one's going to be 35 minutes, but we promise we're going to keep you invested. And it's just
Hmm.
it felt rewarding in a way because they did such a good job. I remember that some of the short episodes, you're like, wait, that's it? I want more. I want so
I
much
know.
more. Give me Space Marines,
That's the thing. Almost every one of those shorts, I wanted more of it. Like there was like one of them,
hmm
every one of them. I was just like, man, that'd be great if this was a whole show.
The uh the first episode was the Dungeons and Dragons one, right? And it ended with Tiamat, and I was just like, oh my shit, that's amazing. I want an entire Dungeons and Dragons show. This one episode was better than the Chris Pine movie. It's just it was so smart, so well done, and I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you watched it.
I am too.
So
I was That's kind of a
yeah.
kickback in the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of my kickback in the TV, while I was sick, I watched Five Nights at Freddy's, and you should watch it. I'm not going to go a long rant on it, but it was a good
Why
movie.
should I watch it? Tell me and the good
It
people of the internet
has
why.
I can't remember his name, and I apologize. I think it's Josh something Hutchinson, the guy from Hunger
Okay, it's got
Games.
Josh. All right, Josh.
He
Wait, there's a Josh in Hunger Games?
the guy who plays the main lead in Hunger Games, opposite of Katniss, her that
Oh,
guy.
the PETA guy.
Yeah,
PETA.
got Peeta in it.
Okay, okay.
He's the main guy. And Five Nights
Why
at
do I
Freddy's,
know
I have
that?
never played, but I know the game. And it's essentially you sit in this office and try to manage things while things come to kill you. And I was wondering how the hell that was going to manage to a movie, but it actually has a pretty cool trauma plot line with him, opposite of and then it has the guy that plays Shaggy in Scooby Doo. He's the main villain.
No,
Yeah, he's so
he's
creepy.
a villain.
He's so good, dude. He's so evil. He looks the part. You got to watch this thing. It's a nice short movie. I'm not saying it's the best movie of all time, but I had no expectations and it blew every one of them. And I was like, they're making a second one, and I was like, I'm pretty excited for it. So I was like, it's worth a watch.
What?
And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, do not watch this movie, anybody. But it's the Amityville Haunting. It is it's something I put on. I was just dying, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put this on. It is the lowest budget movie I have ever seen, and it is so bad, comically bad. The acting, it looks like somebody made it in their garage, and I kept watching it though, and I don't know why. If you want a quick
So
laugh, go watch Amityville Haunting in
is it
on
is
Peacock.
it like do you remember when they would so like those spoof movies, like there was
Scary movie.
300 and then there was Meet the Spartans,
Yeah.
like, so is it like that? Okay.
No, it's not meant to be that. They meant to be a scary movie,
Oh,
but it did not.
no.
It turned out like a spoof movie. That's what makes it so funny is that they did not intend that to be a spoof, and it was supposed to be serious. But these guys and the guy that plays the main dad lead, he gets so insane at the end. He's trying so hard to act, and he can't. That it is the if you want to just watch the last 30 minutes and you'll see just how bad this movie is and the jump scares and all of it just is. I think it was made in 2011 and people, I looked it up online because I was trying to find the name. People have said it's one of the worst movies ever made. I was like, I agree with that.
Ooh,
So yeah,
ooh, that's
you want to
that's
waste your life, go watch Amityville Haunting on Peacock and
all
you
right.
will regret every minute of that decision.
I I don't know if you just unintentionally promoted that movie the best way, like in a
I think I
Sharknado
did.
type of way.
Well, it's like I want you to
Uh,
watch it because I want you to see how bad it is, but I don't want you to waste your time. So maybe I'll find a quick compilation on YouTube that is all the best moments and just cut out the hour and a half. But it's almost like it's one of those things that's so bad it almost needs to be saved for history of
it sounds like
cinema.
it sounds like you just want someone to commiserate.
Um, it it honestly is so bad that it's funny though. I've watched movies that are just so bad that I hate them and I hate my life for watching it. This one is it reaches that new level of low where it is just that bad that it becomes hilarious. And there's not many movies that can accomplish that feat. So I give him props for that. There should be
Well,
some kind of award for being so terrible that you become funny when you meant to be a horror movie.
isn't there already? Isn't like the Razzles or the Zazzles,
Yeah,
Razzleberries,
yeah,
something?
there's something like that. This
I feel
this movie
like
had to have won
Robert
one of those.
Pattinson got that. Oh, um, last trailer. Have you seen any of the trailers for? Is it Mickey 13 with Robert Pattinson?
I don't know what I'm watching, but I've seen the trailer. I want to watch
I
it.
want to see
I
it.
don't know what it
Yeah,
is, but I want to watch it.
I want to see it. I don't know what it is either, but like I desperately want to see it.
When does that
It,
come out?
it
Pretty
looks
soon, right?
this year. I think March. Is it March?
I thought I saw something
Uh,
somewhat next couple months.
yeah. Me look here on the Bat computer, which absolutely in no way is
Beep
to
beep 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 boop boop beep.
absolutely no reference to DC Comics character Batman's infamous crime equipment. Uh, Mickey 13, 13
18,
release.
13, 18.
Mickey 17.
Oh, 13, 17, 18.
Somewhere in
They don't
there.
even know.
March 7th. There's a free promotion
That's
for you.
coming up.
March 7th.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to review that.
That's next month.
Yeah.
That is next month. Oh, you know what I miss most about COVID? Movies at home.
Not going. Yeah.
Because we could watch it and review it the next day. That would be
We'll just have to
I
go to the
also
theater
miss
the
the
day of.
and I mean, fuck it. Happy thoughts, COVID. We can bring back those little spots at the checkout line at Walmart, the little 6 space markers that says you're standing too close to me, back up. We can bring those back. I want that
I
in the
haven't,
world.
I haven't been to Walmart in 4 or 5 years. And at this point, I don't think I'm going back.
That's because
I'm Instacart.
your your
Instacart
your
forever.
your wonderful wife
No.
found apps for
Yeah.
you to never leave home.
We Instacart. Once we started Instacarting, we will never go. I don't care what the cost is. It saves me 2 hours of my life, and I'm just like, it's worth it. I am paying for convenience at this point in my life. I just can't. My time is so
You know,
valuable to
I'm
me.
we're in the same boat actually. So free promotional for Instacart. Please support the channel.
Use my code.
Well, throw it in there. We'll get a sponsorship, whatever. Throw it in there. Daddy needs more cosplay shit. Speaking of awesome shit, what's up with your swag, man? Where can we get that swag?
You can't. You can't get it yet.
Fuck you.
Only I have it.
I want that swag,
This was
man.
a test
I need a hat.
swag. I might start selling it eventually. I just don't know if how that works. Like, because I'm not an LLC, so I don't know how that all. I got to figure that part out.
Jumps into the world of
right now. Everybody can just look at me wearing
small
it.
business. And your sign in the background is fucking awesome. Friendly fire on.
Even though it's backwards right now for me, but
it's not backwards for the rest of us.
No, that's good.
No,
in my screen, it's all inverted.
It's reading normal.
Oh, that's good.
Not for us, not for me.
Well, good.
It'd be pretty awkward if it was.
Yeah. That's why I was worried, because in my thing, it's all showing it backwards. So I was like, yeah, oh well.
Yeah. No, I got to tell you, we were watching back one of your videos. I think it might have been Deliverance. We were watching back, and Emily's like, "Oh, you got a new sign? That's our nice sign." I was like, "It is a nice sign, isn't it?"
That was a good purchase. That would really make things pop.
It does.
I like this whole new shelf. This was a good move. Still got to finish it up, but yeah, I like it. It kind of makes me have a little cubicle here. I feel like I'm in the office.
It almost looks like you need, for no reason whatsoever, you need a joystick somewhere in there, so it looks like you're piloting a spaceship or something. I don't know.
That would be pretty cool.
Or a dome light to come down. Dome light.
That's where I'll put the Stargate.
Oh my fuck! That'd be such a cool background.
I know. I just need to build it.
That'd be sick.
I need you to build it for me.
Speaking of, to whatever random nerd that works for the big production companies that watches it, we want a Stargate game. It needs to be an MMO, and I want to customize my own Stargate team. Please.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think there's a crowd for that. We need to crowdfund
listen,
it. I will give $10 to make this game right now.
I will give you all my undivided attention for 30 straight minutes if you just sell me on this.
I don't know how valuable that's worth. 30 straight minutes of his
That's what I'm saying. You're only throwing in $10. I'm up in the ante, right? I'll give you 30 minutes. All right. Yes. Well, we'll have to schedule another episode where we just talk about games we wish they'd fucking make already, because I don't know why they haven't.
Okay. We haven't planned next week yet, so do whatever the hell we want.
That's true. That's fucking true.
That's the beauty of your own show, damn it.
You got it?
And on that note,
all right.
End the show.
That's the note. That's the end.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Till next week.
Till next week. All right.